With us now are Wendy and Tiffany, and we're going to be talking about inclusion and so much more at Mazars. How'd I do? Pretty good, right? Mazars.
Good job.
We were talking about the fact that different people pronounce it differently from around the world, but it is Mazars. Okay. So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about your background, like where you went to school. I want to get to know you guys as people.
Sure.
So, okay.
Happy to, Donna. First of all, it's just a pleasure to be here today. I really feel like I'm back home. I grew up right here in Brentwood, Long Island, New York.
Oh, great.
So homegrown Long Island girl. Went to school in New York, St. John's University and Columbia University. A very non-traditional candidate in the field of accounting and finance. Most of us happen to have one of those as our majors, but for me in undergrad, I was a dance major.
Okay.
So I grew up as a ballerina from the age of 3 and majored in it in college. Actually switched over from ballet to modern dance, so I thought I'd live my life traveling the globe in theaters dancing. Funny enough, now I travel the world doing tax.
Okay.
So how did I get there? I was fortunate to have 2 of the best parents in the whole world. While they supported my passion for dance, they also said, Tiffany, you might want to add a little something extra in there. Mm-hmm. And so I added economics and philosophy. And with that, upon graduating from Columbia University, I realized at that time that dancers made very little money.
Okay, and you liked money.
And that's important for me. I'm not a trust fund baby right. by any means, so I need that to survive. And so I went on to law school. And it was in law school that I discovered the world of consulting. And I started my career right out of law school at Arthur Andersen. In 2002, Enron closed our doors, and I moved on to another Big 4 firm. I made partner at that Big 4 firm, mm-hmm. and while I was there, I got an opportunity of a lifetime to run the tax service line for Mazars
yes.
Here in New York City. And that's the capacity by which I sit here with you today, and I have the great pleasure of working every day with this lovely lady, Wendy, sitting beside me.
And isn't that wonderful that when you can work with somebody that also becomes your friend?
Definitely.
Isn't that lovely? So Wendy, talk us a little bit about your journey, which we usually don't do, but you know what? I said, being on the show is kind of like we're having lunch together, but we just don't have food. Sometimes we have food, but not today. So Wendy, tell us about your journey.
So I too am a Long Island girl, but I definitely did not major in dance or anything artistic. I had terrific parents. One of the stories that I like to tell is my father, who was an engineer, worked somewhere around here until he went to Wall Street. He wanted to have toys that he could play with his firstborn child, who was a girl, and he bought Lionel trains and race cars.
Oh my goodness.
And at the time, which was almost 60 years ago, many family members said, oh no, and they brought dolls home. So anyway, they were great parents. They taught me many things. Show up every day, leave a better place behind, and have passion for what you do. Mm. So I went to high school, I grew up not too far from here, over in Great Neck. Well, maybe that is, I don't know, it's a little far. Anyway.
Well, that's the people in Ohio that are watching, so we're good.
and in high school, at some point, you get asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I, of course, said I wanted to be a math teacher because I was good in math. And I went home that night, and my father said, maybe you want to consider accounting. It's just like math, and there's lots of jobs for accountants and lots of things you can do with that. And so I listened, which was, I listened to a lot of the advice that my father gave me. And so at 16, I decided I was going to be an accountant. I majored in college. I went to Boston University. And I went and I worked for a lot of national global firms like Tiffany did. I also worked at Andersen, made partner there. And while I was at my next global firm, I was recruited by Mazars to be the eventual leader of the quality and risk management team. So that's how we ended up here today. And at a certain point when I got to Mazars, I realized that we needed to do something about women at Mazars and having opportunities. So
you kind of spearheaded this in a way. You kind of said, hey, by the way.
And we fooled around with a few things, that were what I would call initiatives. And then I think it became business imperative.
Okay.
So
I like
that's,
that, business imperative. So you can't just wake up one day and decide that you're going to do an initiative. So what are some of the steps?
You need to recognize that you have a challenge.
Okay.
You need to listen. You know, and it took a long time to get our management and partners to understand, even though we thought we were doing everything right, you need to listen to the people that it impacts. So we did an assessment, and there were some challenges straight up. Oh, that's not true, that's not really right. We learned things we had no idea were challenges. And then we hired an outside consultant and had her help us work through those challenges.
And a lot of corporations do different things, right? So,
Right. So what are you guys doing? What are some of the plans? Like, I was looking at my index card before you guys came in, and I was like, wow, that sounds like a great initiative. So I wanted to have you on really to talk a little bit about your journey, because there are many people out there, and everybody's journey is different. But we want to talk about, now that you realized that you had the challenge and you did all this research and you got them to buy in, how are you implementing that?
You know, for us, it really starts looking at our operations and looking at our strategy.
Okay.
Whether we're talking women or other underrepresented populations, you have to think about your recruiting, right? That's where we all start. Whether it's interns, whether it's staff, seniors, managers, senior managers, partners, directors. We start with recruiting and we look at that. We're very intentional in making sure that we're very diverse and inclusive of everyone. And once we onboard and once we hire, we then need to set everyone up for success. So what we then do is we focus on making sure our people have the right opportunities. They're assigned to the right projects, the visible projects that will help them accelerate in their career. And even more so than that, it's about mentorship, it's also about sponsorship. While we do have those formal platforms, those formal initiatives and programs, we also have informal ones as well. And then obviously, as we're working through every stage of promotion, we are very intentional in terms of making sure the best person, the right fit, is truly getting the promotion. Whether it's male, whether it's female, or again, some other underrepresented population within the company.
So you guys are like the cheerleaders for the people that you work with, right? The cheerleaders of human resources, right? I don't know, but in a way, it's bringing joy to the workspace. It's bringing understanding. It's making things more palatable. Because let's be honest, right? Who wants to go into work, especially with taxes, because it's a little bit dry, girls, right? But who wants to, but if you're working, I know you guys love it, and I'm just teasing you, but when you're working and you're spending so many hours with your work family, you want to make it functional.
It's really real too, right? Because we spend a lot of time on high school campuses, college, university campuses, and when you look at the people that are matriculating through the programs that are critical to our profession today, again, not just accounting, not just finance, but looking at technology, looking at computer science, looking at the STEM programs. You know, Wendy mentioned math early on. Our profession is really changing. So when you look at all of those majors, well, guess who many of those students really are? They're women. Just like you, just like Wendy, just like myself. Unfortunately, when you start to look at the upper executive levels in many of these companies, well, guess what they look like? Not like us. And so we're trying to be very real and intentional about that. And again, making sure the right fit is promoted throughout the company.
Well, congratulations on all of your efforts. Before we wrap up, is there anything else either one of you would like to share with me?
So quality and risk management, I'm an auditor by trade, is my real job, but I am trained to identify problems or assess the problems, the level of risk, and how we're going to address it, right? So how does Women at Mazars fit into that? Right? So I saw a risk that we weren't going to retain, we weren't going to attract, and we weren't going to develop, and that became part of the focus. There's a few other things that I learned along the way that I really want to get into my message, and that is one size does not fit all. You cannot do it all at once. And I have the opportunity to speak about Women at Mazars, diversity and inclusion often. But I can see sometimes from the audience that there's like panic. You know, we're so far behind because we're so exuberant about what we've done that the audience looks, you can see it, you know, and so I have to say that it's never too late to start, and it's never one, you know, you can't do the same thing that we're doing. Every professional services firm is not the same. Size does matter, and you just need to be able to make sure that you are focused on the biggest risks, and you start from there. You know, it's about change. It's really about change and culture change, what we did, and that's hard.
Yeah, and we're not done,
Of
right?
course not.
We're not done.
No, and nor should you ever be. It should be an
Yeah.
ongoing process of growth.
Yes.
And we
made
never
progress.
take no for an answer.
Exactly.
Right.
We've
No,
made progress, but still a ways to go. I think one of the things that we chatted about pre-taping was vision, and you talked about this dream, right? And for me, it's about when I hear any topics around diversity or inclusion, many people will say to me, but I don't see myself in an organization, so how can I get to that level of success that I want if I don't see people that look like me? And I think it's really important for people to know that just because you don't see it, it doesn't mean that you can't attain it.
Yeah, you
and
could be
there's
the first.
So many people, right?
Right.
That will cheer you on and be your champions, men and women, to really help get you there. For me, that was critical. I shared with you my promotion in a Big Four firm to partner. That happened in 2014. I was in my 30s at the time. And when that happened, I was the first Black tax partner ever appointed in the history of that firm, the first Black woman tax partner in 2014 in a company that's well over 100 years old. So you ask yourself, that took that long for that company to make that decision? So we've made a lot of progress, but we still have a long way to go. And strong message, just because you may not have the vision, others have it for you and can help you achieve it.
And it's not if, but when.
It's
Exactly.
not if, but when. Right, so you could have been daunted
Thank
by
you.
that.
You guys,
Exactly.
thank
Yeah.
you so much. Did you have fun here?
Excellent.
Excellent. I
So
had
much.
fun with you
I
guys
always
too.
have
Thank
fun
you.
with Tiffany.
You know what? And I appreciate that because I wanted to have you on because I wanted you to represent leadership to other companies. And I'm sure you would be willing to take phone calls if somebody said, how do we implement something
course.
in our own corporate culture?
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Happy to.
Stay tuned for more. We are living it up right here on The Donna Drake Show. Be well.